Hello, I'm Richard Vobes, the Bald Explorer, and this is my Sunday chat. I was going to take a day off during the winter months at the end of the week on a Sunday, just so that it would be a little bit easier and less stressful making the videos that I do. Instead of having to make 7 a week, just make 6. But then I thought, and the reaction from last week's Sunday chat was, it would be a good idea to do a sort of roundup and a catch up of what we've been up to and what we're going to be doing in the future. So that's what this is. This is my Sunday chat, and welcome. I'm in the studio actually that I have built in my house for something called the Vobes show that I do. Now, it's not everybody's cup of tea. It's a live show on YouTube on a completely different channel. I'll put the link in the description below. It's usually we do it on a Wednesday night at 8 o'clock at UK time. Sometimes I do impromptu shows on a Monday, same time, and on a Friday. And I have a page on Facebook called The Vobes Show, which I usually put my alerts and information about it and that sort of thing up there. It's a sort of irreverent, slightly comedic interaction show, questions and answers, a bit of fun, a bit of nonsense, not necessarily Bald Explorer stuff, nothing terribly too contentious, just a bit silly. And you're very welcome to join me there if you so wish on those times. But that's where I am in the studio. I often use this studio sometimes just to do these sort of pieces to camera. So going back over the week that we've had an interesting week. The weather has not been too great, have been out and about, but not as much as I would like. But one of the first places we went to was Horsham, and I went and had a look at my childhood memories, and I've made a couple of videos this week about that. One on location where on the old Hills farm, the land has now been built on. It's been built on, I guess they've been building since the 1980s, really, at the point where I think it was bought in the 1980s and started to be built in the mid 80s, and I'd left home pretty much around then, so I wasn't personally affected by it, but I was shocked, surprised when I came back to see the type of buildings and the fake history. Well, that video and the subsequent follow-up video got a lot of response, and I was thrilled to see that. Not everybody agreeing, but quite a lot. If you look at the likes against dislikes, the thumbs and thumbs down, the thumbs up, thumbs down, there was plenty of agreement, and it clearly people are worried, and they shared their stories across the nation. And not only in this country, but in other countries where they've said there is this land grab, and slowly and surely buildings are being put up rather hastily, rather cheaply, and without great attention to the landscape and the heritage, and sometimes completely inappropriate. And often these are also almost ghettos of one type of class of society. Overwhelming was the fact that local people could not afford to buy houses in their local community, even the new builds. And that's a very sad state of affairs. And it's something that possibly I will visit more on in the new coming year, and keep an eye on places that are being built and try and get more interviews with people about such a thing. We also went to Duncan, which I've been making a series of videos in Duncan over the last 12 months. And thanks to John Mays, who is a Duncan resident, and it was really down to him who instigated me coming along and putting Duncan under the microscope. And it's been a fascinating 12 months to keep going back and finding out another little aspect about the village and rural life in West Sussex. And I'd very much like to try and find another village and put that under the microscope and again do a similar sort of thing. I think there's a lot of merit in the familiarity of returning to a place but looking at a different aspect of it. It jogged a lot of people's memories, not just from Duncan area itself, but all over, other people who were chipping in and sharing things that they had done in their village or their town life from their childhood. And this channel is all about heritage, landscape and nature. And heritage, of course, covers such a wide area, and people's memories of their childhood and the way they grew up and how things used to be is very much something that I like to celebrate and would like to do more of, and try and get more interviews. People like John Robbins, who has that fantastic Sussex accent that, of course, in this modern world with the way that people move about, and we're losing those regional accents terribly, and they really add flavour to a video and to someone's character, of course. So I'd like to do more of that. I'm also interested in cooking and food, particularly heritage food. We haven't done much in the way of that, although we did do a hot chili con carne, because the channel is greatly supported by patrons, and I couldn't do these videos without the patrons. This has fast become my main job now. My work, most of my corporate stuff and other ways of earning a living have disappeared. So I'm very reliant on people supporting the channel and trying to put a video out every day. But people don't always have to send money. People do send gifts, and Jeff Kellison has been a particular generous contributor recently, and I'm hugely indebted to him. And he sent, now I've got to get this right because I get the mickey taken out of me by the lovely Julia when I cock this up. He sent me a wonderful frying pan, which is made by Le Creuset. I'm looking down on some notes that I've got here. Le Creuset, and it's French. Loads of people will know about it. We made a very nice chili con carne, and if you missed that, you can check it back in a few days ago. Very successful, and I can see that there'll be lots of interesting recipes that we can try. And of course, we like to experiment. We explore. You see, we explore all sorts of things on the channel. So cooking is something that is at close to people's heart. And it's interesting because a lot of people don't seem to have a lot of time to do proper cooking, although they love watching people cook. It's one of those things, isn't it? People love to watch other people doing things, but they don't necessarily do them themselves. And I've been guilty of that myself to a degree. So it's trying to learn new skills and new things and the health benefits of that. And in fact, yesterday we went to see Kim Murden, who is a herbalist, who's very much on the philosophy of you are what you eat. And so those two things possibly are coming into combination, where being able to cook with herbs may be something that I'd like to investigate a bit more. And those health things, talk more about that in a moment. Jeff also sent a very early Christmas present for me. Very keen to see me improve the videos by getting views that you wouldn't ordinarily see. Now, there's a lot of people who shoot with drones, these quadcopters that go up and get lovely, stunning views of the countryside. And countryside landscape is very much one of our niches that we are interested in. I'm particularly keen to show off this wonderful landscape that we have and try and urge people to conserve it as much as they like. I'm a conservative with a small c. I want to conserve this land to try and keep the traditions as much as we can, not put the place in aspic. We do have to move on. Time goes on. The pace of change, though, is something that I'm finding difficult to cope with. Maybe it's because I'm of a certain generation. But trying to protect our land, and conservation is something I really want to perhaps focus in more in the next 12 months and find out how people are conserving this landscape. And having a drone that Jeff has sent in to me, I've got to learn how to fly it, of course, is going to be fantastic to be able to show you some of this wonderful landscape that we have here in the British Isles. It is quite a unique place. So go back to our herb lady then, and I said to her in the video that we did where I visited Kim and said it would be interesting to find out if I could have a consultation as an everyman for health and well-being. We're all under stress in this modern day to try and overperform and not encouraged to take too many breaks and even not encouraged to relax. We all need to earn money and we get under a lot of stress. So I thought in the new year it would be fun to have a consultation with a herbalist, slightly alternative type of medicine, and see what she says and actually give it a test and see if the power of the herb and the nature of herbs really work, and see if there's any effect. And of course you would join me for that. Somebody sent me an email recently. It was either an email or a message on Facebook to say, hey Richard, did you know that Horsham had a Motte and Bailey castle? I lived in Horsham for my formative years as a kid, and I thought I knew Horsham pretty well. I had no idea that there was a Motte and Bailey castle there, but there was to the north of Horsham. And I thought in the next few days, possibly even tomorrow or today as you watch this, go up and have a look. I think it's probably somewhere where people just go out and walk their dogs now, but I thought it was well worth to go and have a little investigation and have a look-see. And also I noticed that there is a 13-mile river walk around Horsham in West Sussex, where, as I say, I used to live. 13 miles just around the perimeter of the town, and that's something that I think would be worth doing. Lots more walking videos to come. We're just waiting for some fantastic weather. Today actually is quite sunny, but it's a horrible wind, and wind is a nuisance when you're filming, gets on the microphone, especially if it's a chilly wind, because it lowers the temperature down. But once we sort of break through the winter months, we'll be out and about, we'll be going to visit more places. And talking of more places, I know that Kevin and I have been talking about going to Wales and North Wales, and I spoke again to another chap who has a drone and does a lot of drone work and has offered to help teach me how to fly the drone tricks to make the photography a lot more smoother. And he was talking about going to North Wales up in the hills to get some amazing photography up there, and that is a staggering place of landscape, so I want to be able to do that as well. So lots of things being set up behind the scenes. Sometimes they do take a little bit of time to get out. Don't forget we have a walking group. The Bald Explorer has a walking group that you can join us once a month if you're in the area. We tend to do it either on a Saturday or Sunday, the last Saturday and Sunday of the month. Do check out our Facebook pages. You can join the Facebook group, Bald Explorer Facebook group. It's a closed group, so you just apply and you get approved. You don't have to jump through any hoops. It's a very friendly group. You can post pictures about what you're up to, your heritage, landscape and nature, all those sort of things. You'll see the sort of things that people post. We don't advertise anything. There's no political talk. It's a very friendly group, and in that we post our walks and things that we're getting up to. Anyway, this is my Sunday chat. I might be getting, I've got to work out, where are we? We're on the 15th today, so next week we've got one more before Christmas, so I can hold back from doing all the Merry Christmas stuff. But thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to follow, like and subscribe. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoy these videos. It does help trigger the algorithm and get us out to a few more people, enabling me to make these videos. And become a patron if you can by going to baldexplorer.com, and I'll see you out and about in the countryside. You may remember, if you've been watching recently, I've had a bit of a cold which has inhibited me a little bit, but I feel that's pretty much gone now, so I'm looking forward to getting back and making some great videos for your entertainment. Take care, and thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.